This is when their future will be decided.
What we're trying to do is work with natural processes. So we're either trying to mimic or imitate or make use of natural drainage processes to hold up the flow of water, and we do that by storing it, physically stopping the flow, or making further opportunities for infiltration so the water can seep away.
We've become more and more detached from nature. Water is seen as a threat, and yet it's something we're very attracted to. So in times of storm and flood, we don't know what to do or how to react, and we're fearful of what happens. So projects like the Stroud Sense project help us understand and reconnect of how water works, what happens when it rains, what is the purpose of a floodplain.
Came up in the road. Don't really know how powerful.
This young red partridge bathes in the dust to rid itself of parasites.
Too depressing about a flood. It just is. It just makes you feel absolutely miserable.
It does have a long-term effect on people.
I think it started to dawn on people that actually maybe this isn't a freak event. And so I said, well, let's do something about it. And I got all the neighbours together who flooded. And I said, let's have a think about this, people. Let's organise ourselves and have a think about this.
You really had to fight our corner really hard, and you did.
I thought, well, if they're holding the water up in Slad, that's got to be good news for us.
And it looks so natural, what's been done up there. You wouldn't think that some of it has been deliberately placed over the brook to form these barriers.
This is where problems start, and in terms of catchment management and making a big difference, this is where we can start to address the problem. That's the biggest difference between the kind of traditional flood defence approach and ours. We're coming to a place which, who'd think there was a problem here? Beautiful place, well managed, it's a nature reserve, but we can address the problem here. It's not saying anything's at fault here, nothing's been done wrong, but these sorts of places have the potential to help the places downstream, which is what we're doing. So the whole idea is we can create structures which deflect the water out of the channel onto the woodland floor, and then that water soaks away. So we're just using the natural geology of the site, really. And this is what's really meant by working with natural processes.
It's experimental. And there are a number of projects like this happening across country, across the UK, and maybe across, I'm sure, across Europe. And so the important thing is to be able to share these experiments, what works in adaptive context and what doesn't.
The Environment Agency has begun to develop a strong interest in using natural flood management solutions in a lot of small communities where we have localised flood risk issues that would not meet the criteria for what we call a contemporary flood defence scheme.
This sort of solution, whilst on the face of it seems attractive, is also much more expensive and takes much longer to deliver than the type of structures we're putting in place. The basis of them is 2 or 3, 4 big bits of material, and then you pin those down and then wait for all these branches and leaves to kind of gather there. So the idea would be, as the flood comes down, it backs it up. So these are not really about flooding an area out. These are just about physically acting as a barrier, a slowing effect of the flood peak. So you can imagine this kind of big spate of water coming down this system. It's going to hit this. Maybe it will be delayed for a couple of minutes. But because we've got 15 of them, each one delaying it by a minute or 2 can add to half an hour. And spreading all that water out over that extra half hour. So putting 1 or 2 on is no good. You can't just put a couple in and say, done, we've solved flooding. We've got to put dozens in a natural system, a woodland that we just left to its own devices, you get a major logjam every 25-30 metres. We know it's safe to flood water onto there. The landowner up at the farm is happy for us to do that. The consequences are minimal, and every cubic metre of water we store in there is a cubic metre less travelling downstream in a flood peak. And it's got to flow across this whole area. This is what you call hydraulic roads. It's going to take a long time to get across here. It's scary looking to engineers because you can't control this stuff. It's scary looking to people who like to see wood out of streams because they think it's all going to float up and go down and cause a coupling. But actually, what we've done is pins down with steel rods. So we've got these kind of 1.2 metre reinforced steel pins in there. A lot of the research that's been done, which is quite recent, shows that these systems actually fish branches and twigs and leaves out of the system.
It also helps us deliver a lot of other benefits in terms of water quality, river habitat, environmental qualities, those kinds of factors.
And if you look at where woody debris has been in water for 20 years, it creates a really nice section of habitat. And often you get build-up of silt and sediment behind it, so you get a step change in the system.
So we've got here a pile of woody debris that we placed through this channel for this ephemeral stream in Sheepscombe Woods. And what we can see is that in this rainfall, most of the flow is being diverted off out of the channel into an area where it can sit and slowly soak away and infiltrate over the next day or two.
The silt will drop out and the water will percolate away.
In this rainfall, it's not really significant because we know this isn't the sort of rain that's going to deliver a large flood. But when we get really heavy rainfall that could deliver flood peaks, then we know that our system will be working.
A couple of months we've been working with Chris, doing what he asks, or trying to do what he asks. I think we've got our heads around it, how to slow water down, and which is all about really, stop the flooding. So yeah, I've seen flooding firsthand for a lot of years. Living around Tewkesbury all my life and working around Tewkesbury, I know the effects of water. Because when it rains, Tewkesbury fills up. It's got to be a good idea if it's stopping people's properties getting flooded. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Some of the things we've done. New pipes across tracks and soakaways and stuff. Dams to slow water down. Big poplar trees laid on the floor. Good work as well. Nice place to be. Seen 2 deer nearly every day. Woodpeckers, buzzards, the odd robin and stuff. Yeah. It's nice.
If you want a legacy, then that's what you need. You want the population, the people who own and walk and live and have an interest in this area to be involved. And then when your project finishes, then they're the key people who are going to keep that project going.
And what we're looking for through natural flood management is ways in which the community at its larger scale can actually help itself to deliver a flood risk enhancement.
Each one, if it's about 50 centimetres deep, could have about 300 cubic metres of water.
The Stroud Rural Sustainable Drainage Project is really about achieving natural flood management, enhancing biodiversity and improving water quality, working with land managers, working with organisations like the National Trust, the Wildlife Trust, private landowners, seeing if we can reduce flood risk and achieve other objectives like improving biodiversity, improving water quality, without interfering in those land managers' economic activity or even enhancing their economic activity, making a market for some of the timber, working in areas of their land where they're currently unproductive economically or from a food perspective, and seeing if there's ways that we can achieve our aims, reducing flood risk, but working in harmony with
current land management of the Stroud Valleys.
Our nature is here, the Snows Farm nature is here. We created 15 structures similar to this, which are, you know, sort of medium-sized woody debris, leaky dams. Also on some of these side channels that are coming in from the spring line, which we've got behind us here, we've also filled with some of the coppice debris that we've done from our work as well, and also some of the bigger bits of timber. We've also been working with landowners upstream and downstream of the nature reserve, putting in similar structures with the neighbour downstream, and upstream we've put in some much bigger structures that have stretched across the whole of the floodplain to hold more water back and impound it during high flow incidents. I reckon we put him down in here. Yeah?
What we're obviously trying to do is get a long-term approach to water management here. We're not solving floods overnight. It is a very long-term approach to managing water. I suppose in the past was this idea that the trust was kind of sat there, it had its properties, and it just, you know, it looked in at those properties.
Had a boundary.
It didn't go out of them, did it?
I think that has been something which is maybe the National Trust has been possibly seen as a weakness in the past, but here on the estate, and obviously now wider within the National Trust as an organisation, it's a lot more about approaching landowners and neighbours and communities outside of the boundary of the property. So, you know, nature doesn't know the boundaries, does it? So
water particularly doesn't know the boundary.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So for us, you know, it's playing our part really, and it's working with our other partners. So with your other partners in the scheme as well, the Wildlife Trust, the Living Landscape Scheme there is very much a partnership scheme as well.
Yeah.
Looking at these different valleys and around Stroud. And the SUDS programme for us is very much a key part of it.
Most of the projects that have done surface flow modelling and have then gone out and ground truthed it have found that the local knowledge actually differs quite significantly from the mapped data.
Lord and Lady's Wood, is that around here somewhere?
Yeah,
is that
just over there in that shaded area there. And then that's all forested there as well.
Okay.
That's a big clay feature there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the dew pond there would store quite a bit of water on
Let's have a look at the dew.
Yeah, it dries out very much.
There is a little clay valley, isn't it?
Yes,
Most
yeah.
interesting field for the farm.
Because the water, when we go to there, that gathers a lot down at the bottom, doesn't it? Through the
gathers
gateway.
down the
Yeah.
One time,
Yeah, we were. There was a 71 today. Interesting enough, a Gloucester meteor crashed here in 1951. It hit that tree and went to the edge of woodland there, and you can still find bits of it there today.
Over the course of the years where old forestry work's taken place and remnants of timber's been left, we've actually mimicked the natural watercourse of where it's followed down through the spruce trees. We've cut and sized up the timber here and actually placed it on top of where the timbers have naturally settled themselves into place. When the water level comes in at such a high rate, it's going to naturally peel around the outer edges up there and around here. But just on a calm day like today, it's just going to trickle through nicely. And when we have high rains, it's going to eventually slow the water flow down and peel out and soak away into the ground around here. We never really thought of water flow when dealing with the woodland. Our main sort of priority was just coming in and harvesting our firewood. It was only a couple of years ago when we did really have high rains that actually washed part of our track away when the watercourse actually diverted onto the track, so our access into the wood was compromised. So it was from then on that our watercourse management decided to change. From a couple of local properties down below, they approached us along with Chris and the council and said about sorting a watercourse system out through here, hence with the fallen logs and the natural dams.
Lie back on the beach.
I I think to encourage more private landowners or woodland owners with the flood prevention risks of watercourse management, they really need to come and actually have an on-site visit and actually see for themselves what's actually working. They can come and see on heavy rainfall days and actually see the dams working themselves, and they can actually see further down the valleys with other projects which are going on what benefits it's having. All the woodland grant schemes are changing now, and one of the high parts of the woodland grant scheme is flood prevention through woodlands. So that's really high up on the agenda at the moment. So it's a really good incentive to get people more involved in these sorts of projects.
I think the future of the schemes like the Stroud Sedge project is going to be much more integrated. So we're beginning to move as a country across Europe away from issues towards understanding systems. So we worry about where our food's going to come from, where our energy is going to come from, where our water's going to go, what's happened to our environment. All of those things are interlinked. So at this scale, and the scale is important in this context, I think, for this catchment, there's food production going on. This project is tying into that and linking into it because it's interested in where water's coming from, and that's water flow and water quality, as well as in a beautiful woodland we're now very much within the environment. So that's a system, and we're beginning to think about those sorts of systems, so that it becomes the unit of land management rather than based just around an issue, as in this is land for food production, or this is where we mitigate against flooding in this space, or this is environment. We see those things much more as being tied together, and that has to be better.
You know, it makes sense. It's our solution because it's a Stroud-based solution. We feel connected with the people 5 miles away, up in the valleys. There is a solution which can save everybody all the way down the line, and every little bit of work that's done increases our chances of defending the houses. So if it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years. They're living things, rivers. If you work with a river, you're quizzing, basically.